Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is to wherever you're at. 91 Cab GT coming at you again with another cargo trailer update. Finally, getting back out here now that the holidays are over with and getting some work done. When I left you last time, the ceiling was finished, except for a little trim, a couple of little pieces of here and there. But I was able to get a lot of the electrical done. The electrical's not complete, but a lot of it is done. So let's take a look. Okay, so here is the electrical. Got my little heat going because it's in the 30s this morning. It's a little bit of a mess right now. This is actually just zip tied out of the way for right now. This is the power cord, as you see, for the battery charger. Just haven't hooked it up yet, but I got the power and ground hooked up, but they're not hooked up to the fuse box yet. And the fuse box, I don't have everything labeled, but everything is fused. Got a couple more outlets for upgrades for other stuff down the road. And got the solar charge controller. Got it up. Got the switch panel here, which is where the heater is running off of right now. And then these wires here are for the radio, which here, this is the radio. Super, super, super small. Primarily, I think they call it just a media player. It's got an AM/FM radio and then Bluetooth. And really, that's about all I want. I'm perfectly content with just AM/FM. I do have a big CD collection, but yeah, I'm fine with AM/FM. But anyway, so all of this stuff is going to be mounted on this board. Move it over here a little bit more. Okay. Now this is going to be where the shunt is at. This is going to be the switch panel. This is going to be the radio. And then down here, it's going to be where the solar charge controller is. This board is going to cover this whole entire area. Now, I'm going to cut this out, but I'm going to be putting hinges on here and a magnet back behind the door to hold this door closed. So that way I'll be able to have access to the fuse panel. Just in case the fuse blows, I'll be able to go in and open up really easy to get to it. Now this fuse right here is actually for the solar panel. So that way I can easily come in here and take the fuse out if I have to, if the temperature is going to be super, super cold. Which luckily so far it has not been. So, let me go over this a little bit because this is all relatively new. Okay, these two posts here are basically the positive and ground coming out of the battery. Now I've got an 8 gauge and a 4 gauge coming off of each one. There's the 4 gauge and the 8 gauge. Okay. Now the 8 gauge comes up here to the distribution block. This is fused, I believe it's a 40 or 50 amp fuse, something like that. And then the 4 gauge goes to a 125 amp fuse, and that is for the power inverter, which I've used quite a bit. This is the shunt. This is just the display unit. Has some wiring, which I'm not going to use any of this wiring at all. It's just, no, not going to use that. And then the shunt. So the shunt will be right onto the positive, and then I will move the 4 gauge and 8 gauge over to the other side, so that way it'll handle it. So that way we'll be able to see exactly what's going on in real time. So right now, as you see, there's also a fan right up here. Since this is going to be completely enclosed, that fan is going to help to draw air from the bottom up and out the top. So that way everything inside that's going to produce heat will be able to be cooled down. The power supply, or battery charger more or less, if we're actually using that, that can be producing a lot of heat. The radio, which is going to be going up here, can produce a decent amount of heat. I don't want it to overheat. And something I mentioned last time, which kind of ties into this with the cooling fan, is I finally got the battery heaters in. That's going to go down there inside the battery. The only problem is they claim that these are 15 watt. Anyway, that says 0.4 watt. But anyway, in the ad it said 15 watt, which with a 12 volt system, you're looking at just over 1 amp of actual draw. That's not what those draw. When I hooked it up, it had over 5 amps of draw. That means that it's over 60 watt. So what I'm going to end up doing is I've got some resistors. I will be mounting a couple of resistors up here to lower the impedance, raise the impedance to decrease the amperage going to the heaters. Since they'll be right here, right by the fan, that should help to keep those cool. There's the radio antenna. Hadn't pointed that out yet. Those are the main things. The power cord that's going to be coming in the heater. Let me turn this off here because it's actually already starting to get warm in here. And it's 39, 40 degrees outside. So works pretty good. And this is basically a really, really tiny heater. Anyway, ADD. This here is going to go on the outside. I'm going to have to cut a hole in the outside and stick this in. So it's going to be like this from this side. That's where the power cord is going to be coming through. So that way if we are at a campsite, we can hook power up to here, or generator or whatever, without trying to run the cords underneath the door the way I'm doing right now. Which that's going to be sealed up a little bit better too later on. So anyway, since the charge controller is going to be forward and up quite a bit, this will be able to be mounted pretty far down and right over here in this corner, and it will not touch the back of the solar charge controller. So that's what we're going to do on that. But that's for another time. I'm not going to cut the outside until I'm ready for that. But I have to cut the outside before I get all of this completely done. So we'll see. But anyway, oh yeah, I do have the other speakers installed now. So we got our left and right speakers installed. And I do have some extra wiring here because, like me, if any of you know me or seen any of the other videos on my channel, I like good sound. I like to hear everything in the music. Not just the mids, not just the highs, but also the lows. So I have already ordered a 6.5-inch dual voice coil subwoofer that will be going in here. There'll be a small box kind of off to the side. Nothing big. It's not going to boom. Nothing like that. I'm just going to wire it up to the rear channels of the radio. Just going to give me a little bit better low end. And it'll make it sound just a little bit better. So, nothing major. But anyway, that's your cargo trailer update for now. And next step is to continue with the wiring and hopefully get some more of this insulation up, I hope. So anyway, until next time, y'all have a good one. God bless, and we'll see you then.